everyone. Welcome back to Soccer Showdown. Joe Archino and Martino Puccio back here. And once again, it is the Champions League in action. We're here to break it all down for you. We're going to start off with Juventus against Tottenham. Juve advances to the quarterfinals. They defeat Tottenham 2-1. Martino, we talked a lot about, I think this is the match a lot of us had our eyes on the most. It seems like the same old Tottenham. Juve certainly hasn't been the prettiest this season, but they are very resilient. They get it done. Goals by Higuain, goals by Dybala. And Dybala, what a sensational strike that he had. But I want to leave you with this quote by Chiellini, and he was kind of asked after the match, and he said it's the history of Tottenham, describing, of course, because it does seem like, Tottenham is trying to get there. They want to be at that level of these other mega clubs, but they just have not been able to get over the hump in this competition.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing when we talk about it. We talk about mentality, and we see the same teams year in, year out competing for this cup. And it's for a reason, because they have that championship pedigree. They know how to win. Spurs, as well as they played, as much talent as they have, they've never really been able to win the big thing, as well as the Premier League title, let alone the Champions League. And then what it came down to was Dybala and Higuain. They were the clinical finishers. You didn't see Harry Kane show up in this match. He did pretty well on the first goal when he held up the play to finish that one for Spurs. But you know what? It just came down to who had the most talent and what player came through in that moment. I mean, Barzagli was playing a terrible match. He probably should have been sent off for that one when he was stomping on Son's knee. But then Allegri made the quality subs. They came in, switched to center back. Lichtsteiner came in at right back, and you know what? They went through. I think it was just a great job by them, and they really grinded it out. I mean, what more can you say about the defense? Because defense wins championships.
Juve still very dangerous moving forward. We go on to the next one, Real Madrid. They advance as well to the quarterfinals. They have won this competition the last 2 years. They're looking to make it a third. Obviously, La Liga, it's not gone very well for them this year, but they're still very much alive and thriving in this. Cristiano Ronaldo, what more can you say about him? He has been money. He has scored in his last 9 consecutive Champions League games, as good as it gets. But before we get to Real Madrid, I want to hit on Neymar and PSG, of course. Neymar, of course, suffered a terrible injury before this match, so we knew he was out of it. He had to have surgery, so we knew he wasn't going to be in this, which basically took PSG out of this. They weren't going to beat Real Madrid without Neymar. But I've seen so many people giving so much to PSG for all the money they've been spending and not being able to get over the hump. I think you've got to pump the brakes a little bit. This is Neymar's first year. I don't think any of us looked at PSG and said, year one with Neymar, they were going to win it all with this new team. I think you got to give PSG a little bit of a break here. Fair?
No.
Oh,
they spent almost $400 million on 2 players, and they didn't show up. Granted, Neymar wasn't in the second leg. What happened in the first leg? That was just a terrible performance. They were up 1-0, and then Real Madrid just took over. And we talked about championship pedigree and teams being able to win this competition and knowing how to win it. Marco Verratti, another name that you could throw out there. This guy's supposed to be one of the best midfielders in the world, and he's not playing like it. He gets sent off in this match. Mbappe doesn't play as well, nearly like he did last year in the Champions League for Monaco. And then Thiago Silva is a shell of himself. I mean, give credit to Real Madrid, but this second leg, PSG just flat out did not show up, and it looked like Real Madrid was playing both games at the Bernabeu, if I'm being honest with you.
So, do you think next year, with Neymar back and he gets healthy, is next year that or bust?
It is. I think it's going to be that or bust almost every single time he's there, because they've won the league before without Neymar, and they're going to win it again this year because they have the talent to do that. They brought Neymar in, they brought Mbappe in to win the Champions League. And it takes time. I mean, we're just seeing City click now as a team that's going to be able to advance, and they're playing great after spending so much on investments. But I think Unai Emery's run has come to an end there. I think they had that epic collapse against Barcelona last year, and it's happening again this year, and they're eliminated.
Let's go to Real Madrid before we move to City, like you just mentioned. Real Madrid, again, I alluded to earlier, it's not been a picture-perfect year for them in La Liga, certainly, but in this competition, Ronaldo has been sensational, has played his best, and then Real Madrid is still very much playing very well. Do you think that they can just focus everything they have on the Champions League and have a good chance of maybe winning it for the 3rd time in a row?
I think they're not as great as they were last year because in terms of depth and players they might have sold, But it's still Real Madrid. They got Cristiano Ronaldo. They got the backbone of that defense still there. The midfield's still great. If they want to put all their eggs in one basket for the Champions League, they most certainly can win it because they're that talented and they've done it twice before. I know we talk about how difficult it is to win this competition consistently, but they got the talent to do it.
Well, let's go to City, and I think not many people would argue that they don't have the talent to do it right now. But they did lose to FC Basel, but they had it locked up already, basically. They advanced to the quarterfinals. But Martino, everyone kind of has, I feel like, different opinions of how good they think City are. I think we all are in agreement of how sensational they've been this year, but it seems like there's still some people who have some doubts, especially maybe in terms of the back of their defense. What's your take on City? Even though they've been so good, the Premier League is wrapped up. Are you a real buyer still that they could win this competition?
I think they definitely can. I mean, they got everything you would want in a team. Check it off the box. You got your defenders, great midfield, and just a potent attack. It was great to see Gabriel Jesus come back in, and he scored. And then they got the coach. Pep is one of the greatest coaches of all time. I understand he didn't get to a Champions League final with Bayern, but they were consistently dominating their league. And they're going to win. Man City's really got the league wrapped up already. I think they only got 9 games left. So they could really focus on Champions League, much like Madrid. And I think it's all there for them. And you know what? They haven't shown any signs of slowing down, kind of like what they did last year. So if they get a good draw again next round, I mean, this is looking like a real chance that they could win this whole thing.
They've got such sensational young players, Kevin De Bruyne, Gabriel Jesus, you name it. But do you worry about the young core of this team going up an experienced squad if they got a draw against a Bayern or against a Real Madrid? Any of these top-tier clubs, even a Juve, do you worry about perhaps that contrast between the experience of these other giants and a lot of these young but very skilled players that City has?
I think you're going to worry about it sometimes just because these clubs are just so great to begin with. But if you want to get there, you have to beat guys like that. And I think they've been in tough enough matches over the course of time that they're able to do that and able to advance. They got the right guy in Pep to lead them past that. Because who were Messi and Xavi and Iniesta? I know they won in 2006 in that Champions League, but Pep, along with all the talent that he had, led them to the promised land, and I think they have a good chance of doing it with this club.
We'll go on to another Premier League club who advances to the quarterfinals. That is Liverpool. They draw against FC Porto 0-0, but they, of course, thrashed them in the first leg of the round of 16. So now we look at Liverpool. The first time they reached the quarterfinals in the last 9 years. So this is pretty monumental for a very big club here. What's your take on Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp and what you think they can do moving forward?
Much like people say here in America for the 76ers, they're just trusting their process, man. I mean, they're not spending the most money that you've seen other clubs like PSG, Real Madrid, Man City. But they've really done a great job of just getting in their bang for their buck with guys like Mohamed Salah, who's just been fantastic. They got the 5 away goals. They're moving on. And, I mean, it really depends on the draw, like always. But I think Liverpool's in a good spot, and it's a nice building block, not just for this year, for next year as well.
Now, before we end, I wanted to hit one Europa League match, and this was a big one with 2 giant clubs of Europe, AC Milan, Arsenal. Martino, you were very confident about AC Milan heading into this one. Both clubs were going in completely opposite directions going into this match. Arsenal was going on a very dark, bad run. AC Milan was playing well. How did Arsenal pull out the 2-0 victory?
You know, I guess they're just sticking to that random Arsenal narrative where they're just playing terribly for a while and then they just pull a rabbit out of their hat out of nowhere. Milan's unbeaten in 13 straight games under Gattuso. They're playing great in 2018. They laid an egg. It was an absolute stinker by them. Arsenal came in ready to play. Experience, like you were just mentioning, it really showed in this game. And Arsenal's looking really good to move on because 2 away goals to no home goals for Milan. I mean, it's looking really difficult, and Wagner might stay again. Who knows?
Uh-oh.
It's looking like it.
I don't know. Arsenal's a complicated story. It's the never-ending story with Arsene Wenger. But that's all we've got for you on this episode of Soccer Showdown, everyone. He's Martino Puccio. I'm Joe Archino. Thank you for watching us as always, and we'll see everybody in the next episode.